करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नित्यानंद अवधूतेन्दु वसुद प्राण वल्लभ जानव जीवित पति कृष्ण प्रेम पद प्रभु पद्मावती श्रुत श्रीमान सचिनंदन पूर्वज भावोन्मक्त जगत्राता रक्त गौर कलेवर। नमो नमो अनिरुद्धाय ऋषिकेशियान्द्रियात्मने नमः परमहंसाय पूर्णाय निवृतात्मने स्वर्गापवर्गद्वाराय नित्यं शुचि सदे नमः। नमो हिरण्यवीराय चातुर्होत्राय तांत्रवे। So we were on 18 verse last time. Yeah, 18 we completed. I'm just thinking, should we? I have a couple of points on 18, so should we start on 19? Because 18 is very important verse. We covered few things last time. I'm just trying to see. Okay, we can start with 19. We'll start. I have a point, but I will mention that while we are discussing the 19. Please repeat after me. Ihev tairjitaha sargo yesham samme sthitam manaha निर्दोषं हिंसं ब्रह्म तस्माद् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थितः. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. So purport, equanimity of mind is mentioned above, is the sign of self-realization. Those who have actually attained to such stage should be considered to have conquered material conditions, specifically birth and death. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he is elevated to the stage of equanimity, through realization of self, he is liberated from conditional life. In other words, he is no longer subjected to death, take birth in the material world, but can enter into the spiritual sky after his death. The Lord is flawless because he is without attraction or hatred. Similarly, when a living entity is without attraction of hate or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into spiritual sky. Such persons are to be considered already liberated, and their symptoms are described below. So next two verses are the symptoms of such person. So let's try to connect what we have discussed last week to this verse. If you remember last week, the last verse before this is 18. Vidya Vinayan Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunicheva Shopakhecha Panditaha Samadarshana. So this is Pandita Samadarshana verse which we covered last time. Right? That was more related to that how a person, a self-realized, a pandita, can see everybody on the same platform with the same level. But we saw what exactly that seeing same means. Right? Can anybody tell? Correct. So it sees that this particular soul is extension of Paramatma. He says Paramatma's creation, Paramatma's blessings in that particular body. Right? He is not bewildered or he is not distinguishing that particular thing with body. If it is a lion, is not distinguishing that okay, it is lion, then it's totally different, body. He's trying to see the soul inside that particular body. Right? Now, what exactly? There is a different one more level we are trying to understand here. Right? What is that? Yeah. One more level. First, we try to understand that we are not this body, right? And then we know the material elements, right? 24 material elements, how the material elements, then how interaction between the senses and sense objects happens. Right? That also we covered. And then we understood soul is aloof, right? Now the next step here is that Paramatma, we have to understand. First we understood that we are not this body. Now next step we have to understand is there is super soul. And this is what that change is happening in this verse, where we are able to see Krishna is telling that Pandita is able to see super soul everywhere. Yeah, this is a main distinction. I will tell you one story. Very kind of funny story, but let's understand because it gives a nice message to us. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, right? Once he goes to the mental asylum, he visits. So he visits, he goes, and then he sees that somebody is giving big lecture, right? And everybody is clapping there, everybody is seeing, and he is talking all nonsense, but everybody is like seeing, wow, wow, why, what a great thing he is doing. He is like a big leader they are seeing. Then he goes further and he sees that somebody is driving tractor, right? But that person doesn't have any tractor. He is just making, his movements and making sound, and he is driving tractor. Then somebody is, seeing to the sky and doing something. And then Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru understands, oh, this guy is actually counting, trying to count the stars there. Then he goes further, then somebody comes forward and welcomes him. So Pandit Jawaharlal, okay, at least one person is normal here who is came here and trying to welcome me. So then that person asks, so who are you? He said, I am Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He says, aur ek aa gaya. That person says, aur ek aa gaya. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru doesn't understand that why. So he says, the person who was talking, he also thinks he is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He thinks that he is a Prime Minister of India. Even the people who are sitting and listening, they also think, when they came first, they were also saying that we are Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Kind of funny, but if you think, this story tells us a couple of things, very important things, right? One is, what exactly was happening there? Why those guys are termed as mental? What was happening there? One person was trying to give lecture. He was giving lecture. He was thinking that he is giving big lecture. He is a Prime Minister of India. Yeah, they were thinking something. Yeah, no, they were thinking about themselves something which they are not, or they were not. Right? So that is what we need to understand. Then what we term them as mental. Right? I think somebody is trying to, Premprada, somebody is trying to open the garage. Okay. I think somebody is trying to open. Sorry. So what happens if we see somebody who is thinking, of himself that he is not there, he or she is not there? What we think about that person? I gave a very big clue, so it's easy. Mental, right? He's not in his senses, right? So our condition is not different here. Right? If we think we are body, then our category is also similar category, right? What we need to think is, we need to understand, once we get this knowledge, we need to understand that we are not this body. So what we are spirit soul, right? And everybody else is also spirit soul, right? So that graduation, that distinction we need to do. So how we will do that? How we will do that? How here Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was seeing that everybody is mental, and he is thinking that he is so-called Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he is normal, he was thinking. So a Pandit sees everybody in proper consciousness. So how it is possible? How he has that vision? Because what is happening here is, the expectation is we have to go deeper aspect of that. So we have to go in deeper vision to understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. Okay. So answer to this is previous verse 17. Right? 17, if you read, is when one's intelligence, mind, faith and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge, and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. So intelligence, mind, faith and refuge, surrender, right? Everything is fixed for Krishna, to Supreme. Then we will be able to understand that we are not body, we are spiritual. Understand and act on it. Right? We will understand that everybody else is also spirit soul. Yeah? Are we clear? So how we can do this? Intelligence, mind, faith, refuge, everything. Focus like a laser to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should continue to be in a company of person who has faith, right? Who is trying to, who are in a group of people, like Sangha is very important. We should get attached to such Sangha. We should do all possible things. Adjust our schedule, adjust our activities. Sometimes we think that we will not be able to adjust, but I personally saw that there are many things that we can adjust, right? So only thing is, we need to prioritize things. Once we prioritize, then we will be able to adjust the things, shift the things, and it is possible. I'm not saying it is easy, but it is possible. Only thing is, we need to prioritize things. So only easy answer for us is to continue to have this Sangha and follow whatever instructions, whatever others doing, we need to continue to do. Yeah, so we will attain that by then our intelligence, mind, faith and refuge can be concentrated on Supreme. Right? There is other aspect to this same story. Right? That the other person who was asking, who are you? He says, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru says, Pandit Jawaharlal, I am Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Prime Minister of India. He didn't believe him. Right? The other person says, ye bhi aur ek aa gaya. So even the normal person, they think that he is not normal. Right? Same thing happens with us. Right? If somebody there who has this equal vision among us, we don't realize, we don't agree, we think I cannot see, how can that person see? Right? So we have to be very cautious, because what happens is such personality is around us, and such personality we are actually insulting such personality by not giving required respect, then that will be aparadh. Right? So we have to be very careful when we are in sanghas especially with senior devotees, that we may see from our mundane eyes, and we can hear in mundane ears, that they may be doing normal things, they may be struggling, they may be doing this, but we shouldn't judge with our own knowledge, our own experiences. Yeah, because we may make some mistakes which would impact us in our chanting, it would impact us in our devotional services. Yeah. So what we should do, we should give equal respect to everybody. Yeah. Any questions, comments? So on 19, there are two things we need to understand. One is establishing sameness and equanimity. Then already conquered the conditions of birth and death. Right? In purport, Prabhupada has explained that. I think it is clear. Any questions or doubts? Like if you can give example. Right, yes. So what I'm saying, that we shouldn't go by external behaviors. Right? If we cannot judge a person with our own experience, our limited knowledge. That is what I meant. Yeah. Respect, I said, not. Yeah. Yeah, we should respect everybody equally. Right? Yeah. If we shouldn't say, oh nahi, ye to abhi bhi naya hai, he's new, he doesn't know anything. We don't know. Maybe previous life, and he was, he or she has to just connect, and then the fire will be, yeah, big fire will lit up, and then that person can go much faster. Right? So that is what that vision we need to see. Right? So 20 and 21 we'll try to do together. And we'll try to wrap up today a little early. Okay, so please repeat after me. न प्रहर्षेत प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत प्राप्य च प्रियम स्थिरबुद्धिर्सम्मूढो ब्रह्मवित् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः. So translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the science of God, is already situated in transcendence. So I'll read purport and then we'll discuss. The symptoms of the self-realized persons are given herein. The first symptom is that he is not illusioned by the false identification of the body with his true self. He knows perfectly well that he is not this body, but is the fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is therefore not joyful in achieving something, nor does he lament in losing anything which is related to his body. This steadiness of mind is called sthira buddhi or self-intelligence. He is therefore never bewildered by mistaking the gross body for the soul, nor does he accept the body as permanent and disregard the existence of the soul. This knowledge elevates him to the station of knowing the complete science of the absolute truth, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. He thus knows his constitutional position perfectly well, without falsely trying to become one with the Supreme in all respects. This is called Brahman realization or self realization. Such steady consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So we'll do 21 also, and then we will discuss together. Okay, please repeat after me. Bhaya sparshesva akasmatma Vindati atmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashunte sukham akshayam ashnute. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but it always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Anybody wants to read purport? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So extreme conditions, Srila Prabhupada has explained. Higher in material, what is the highest in material and what is the highest in spiritual. But once somebody is in spiritual platform, he doesn't need the highest thing in material world. Yeah. Yes. So 20, if you read translation, a person, so verse 20, a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, which is sthira buddhi, right? Who is unbewildered and who knows the science of God is already situated in transcendence. So same person being here is situated in transcendence. Right? There are many examples what we have, right? So important thing what we want to understand here, that it doesn't become happy or pleasant, right, or unpleasant if he doesn't get something, right? So that equanimity is there, right? So there are many examples, right? Then best example, which is actually the Lord himself, who came as a Sri Ram, right? So everybody is aware about, how what happened in Sri Ram case, when everybody, practically everybody in the world thought that Ram will get coronated as king. That also, a kingdom which was, one of the best kingdom, yeah, and um, he was ready to do that. His father Dashrath, King Dashrath, actually asked him to get ready for his Rajabhishekam, or the festivity, and everybody was sure that next day he will be going to be king. And what happened? Just one night before, in the matter of few fractions, everything changed. Right? I will not go in detail, But we know the story in short that, Kaikeyi and Manthara, basically. Manthara tried to um, disturb Kaikeyi, trying to impose few things on her. She tried to tell her lot of things which Kaikeyi never thought of. You know that we have to learn that also, sometimes, because Kaikeyi was from beginning thinking Ram as her own son. But then what happened? She suddenly, changed in overnight. What happened? Because Manthara was very evil-minded. Right? So the company of evil-minded people also will influence so much so that that person can do something totally different than their own characteristic, their own way. Right? So we have to remember this also, that we have to have proper sangha, proper connections. Otherwise, even the mother like Kaikeyi did such a big thing that she couldn't have done that before, because her relation with Sri Ram, or Sri Ram's relation with Kaikeyi, was much more than their own mother and son's relationship. So within a fraction, this everything changed. What happened to Sri Ram that time? Right. But what was his reaction? He wasn't disturbed. Right? He wasn't disturbed. Right? What he did, his father couldn't tell him this. Actually, Kaikeyi herself told, because when Sri Ram went to meet Dasharath Maharaj, he saw Dasharath Maharaj is in agony. He was not able to face Sri Ram. Then he asked his mother, Mother Kaikeyi, please tell me what is happening. Why my father is like this? So she said, he will not tell, I will tell. And she tells these two conditions. And he takes, how he takes? Without disturbance. In fact, he comes out, that time Lakshman, who heard everything, and he is furious, he is very angry. He is saying, this person is not in his mind. The king is actually now completely covered by lust. He is not king, he is not father, I will kill him. He says that. Yeah, Lakshman says that. Right? It is our dharma that a lusty king shouldn't be here. He is not following. So Ram actually pacifies him, tells him which is not correct. Then Ram is ready to go. With Ram, then Sita and Lakshman both goes. What happens then? That he is supposed to get coronated. He is supposed to get Rajya. He is supposed to get the kingdom, and then he is leaving everything as a sannyasi. He is going. Not only that, for 14 years, long years. But he is not disturbed with this. Right? So he is Lord himself, but Lord came as human being to show us that what are because what he was thinking? He was thinking the duty is much more than my own feelings, my own comfort. Right? My dharma. Yes. What happened once 14 years is completed? Then he came back. What happened that time? That time he took coronated. He took the kingdom. That time, you think that he was jubilant and very much happy and dancing? No, right? Because it was same for him. Right? He wasn't same what we see here. Rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant. So both the things we could see in the Sri Ram case. There are many examples actually. Right? We know Bharat Maharaj or Jad Bharat story. No, Bharat Maharaj or Jad Bharat story. Some devotees may not know. Right? Or Bali Maharaj actually. Right? Take an example. Bali Maharaj everybody knows. Bali Maharaj example. What happened? Bali Maharaj when Vaman Avatar came, and Vaman Avatar actually told, I just need 3 steps Shukracharya, his guru, is telling that you didn't recited Omkara before agreeing to give him. So you don't have to, yeah, agree to it. This is not binding to it. And he's telling him that Vishnu himself is here and he is going to take everything from you. But what Bali Maharaj did, was he disturbed? Because he knew his guru himself is telling that next step everything will be gone. You will not have anything. What did he do? He said, if indeed Vishnu is in front of me, and indeed if Vishnu is asking me, then what is the use of all this kingdom? Right? Because this is the best opportunity I have to serve Lord. If he is asking and I am, if I give, nothing like it. And he gave. In 1 second, he lost everything. One step, second step, and then Vaman, they were asking him, what about the third? Right? So he gave his whole head. So he gave everything, himself also. No, he didn't wanted to kill Bali Maharaj. He didn't kill Bali Maharaj. So actually Bali Maharaj was doing the yagyas, and that was, see Bali Maharaj, who is Bali Maharaj? Bali Maharaj was actually the king of Rakshasas, Danava. But who runs the universe? No, Vishnu doesn't run, right? Yeah, Devas run. The maintenance is done. Vishnu is a Karan of everything, but through Devas. So his yagya, his power was a disturbance or threat to Devas. That's the reason he wanted to stop, and nobody could have stopped him. He was so powerful, only Vishnu could have stopped him. And that's the reason Vishnu stopped. In fact, he gave a boon to him. Vishnu, he actually pushed him in Sutala Loka, which is Patal, below Patal. He made him king of that, saying, you are the king of this Loka, and I will become a gatekeeper of your kingdom. So Vishnu agreed to become a gatekeeper for his devotee. Right? Another example I will end with this example is our own Srila Prabhupada. Right? There are many examples, many stories related to Srila Prabhupada, where Srila Prabhupada, both the things, right? What is the sameness and equanimity, what we are talking about 19, as well as I will give an example of um, rejoices upon achieving something pleasant and unpleasant, right? So equanimity, there is very nice story which long back I read. Yeah, that time I was little. I was trying very hard to, wherever I get Prabhupada's story, I was trying to find, and somehow I got hit to this particular website where one Mataji, Govinda Dasi Mataji, Prabhupada's disciple, she has written her interactions with Srila Prabhupada when Srila Prabhupada in New Jersey, in the coast area. I don't know where exactly he stayed because he was there for 2 weeks. Srila Prabhupada. What happened in New York, this was initial when Prabhupada came from India, and then his health was not good. So somebody told, if you go near the shore, you will feel better. So I think Kirtananda Maharaj or somebody found this beach house where then 2 weeks or 3 weeks they took Prabhupada there, and Govinda Dasi Mataji. That times those realizations she said. So one of the realization was very, very nice, which is related to the seeing sameness or equanimity. Prabhupada was chanting in a garden. There was, I think, outside the house there was small garden, and he was chanting in the garden, and Mataji was also chanting and just trying to observe Srila Prabhupada how he is doing and everything, if he needs anything. And then Mataji sees one very ugly creature, bug, very ugly bug, slug. Right? Slug is, I think, something like snail, but it doesn't have. The snail has that what do you call, covering or shell? Yeah, this slug doesn't have the shell, and it's very slow, right? Snail only, and very ugly looking. And she taken aback. Oh, this ugly looking, and it's coming near Prabhupada, or it's near. Then Prabhupada sees, and Prabhupada asks, what is this? Then then Prabhupada tells, actually, with love and compassion, Prabhupada is seeing that bug, and Prabhupada is telling, why don't you chant for this, little creature? And then she chants until that creature disappears from their vision. So he's thinking of that creature. He's not seeing that is ugly and so bad, and saying it is struggling. So why don't we chant for that creature? So he will have some benefit. He's seeing everybody with equal vision, even that particular small bug. Yeah. Another example Shrutakirti Prabhu has given. I think he was in LA, Los Angeles. Then Prabhupada rang a bell, and Shrutakirti Prabhu, everybody knows, he was Prabhupada's personal servant. Yeah, there were few servants Prabhupada had in particular duration, but Shrutakirti Prabhu had, I think, more years serving Srila Prabhupada, and he has written that Prabhupada's, his interaction with Prabhupada, his seva, and his realization, his remembrance, he has written. Very nice books he has written. Even if you go to ISKCON Desire Tree, you can read his some of his lectures. Very nice, he has explained his pastimes, Prabhupada's pastimes. Yeah. So when Prabhupada actually called him, he came running, and then Prabhupada, do you see that bug? So Shrutakirti Prabhu is not able to see. No, there you see. Shrutakirti Prabhu is not able to see that bug. Then he actually carefully sees that one bug, very small bug is there. And Prabhupada is saying, this bug looks like he needs something to eat. He doesn't have any energy. Practically, from last half an hour, he is lying like that. He doesn't have energy. Why don't you take Maha garland or Maha flower, right? Take that bug and take it to outside tree and put it on a leaf, so that he can get something to eat and get energy. That is what Prabhupada tells Shrutakirti Prabhu. And Shrutakirti Prabhu writes that he actually moves with that bug which I couldn't find, and Prabhupada didn't thought that it is not important to see this bug, because he is a leader of worldwide movement where people are trying to get 2 minutes from him, and he is not thinking that, oh, it is my waste of time. He is still thinking that even this creature, we should help him to connect to Krishna. He is telling him, take Maha flower or Maha garland and lift that. Everybody knows, right, what is the importance of Maha garland and Maha flower? No. So do you know Maha garland? Maha garland is actually what we offer to Lord, and that actually then we accept it as a Maha. So Lord himself accepted. So the thing which Lord has accepted, touched, and smelled, that thing we take as a blessings. So you are directly getting from Krishna. It's like a gift from Krishna. Yes. Right. Yeah, there are different ways to see. Currently, what we are seeing, right? We are trying to see every creature how Prabhupada was treating. We have to go to that level, right? Now, that doesn't mean what I said. That doesn't mean that we have to leave all the creature, right? If there is a disturbance, if it creates disturbance, right? If it is harming you or your kids, then you have to. That is your duty to protect, right? Yeah. One thing you could have done is, I don't know what that creature was, but you can put that creature outside. But if you know that creature is dangerous, then you don't have any other option, right? Okay. So now going back, we will end with Prabhupada's other, you know, incidents, which is related to text number next one, where we were talking about, does not lament upon obtaining something unpleasant. This is, I heard on Prabhupada's actually travel schedule at the age of 80. So at the age of 80, if you know, yeah, you think about, somebody, I don't think I will live that much, but at the age of 80, Prabhupada's travel, Satswarup Maharaj has written that in Lilamrita, that that particular travel was 50-day travel. He was supposed to go at 12 major cities, and that is what he actually approached. In fact, they say that when Prabhupada was very sick in Vrindavan, and there was a London Ratha Yatra, and he was insisting, no, there is an important incident, I want to go. He was not able to, get up from his bed, but he wanted to go there. So such scenario was there, and this is before that, where Prabhupada's schedule was, he was touching about 7 countries in that 50 days. Yeah, and continuously Prabhupada's schedule, if you have read or you have heard about it, is continuous preaching. Preach, or talk. Is continuous preaching is that. How many hours you may think that Prabhupada may be sleeping? 2 to 3 hours only. 9 to 12 or 10 to 12, something like that. And he never stopped translating his books. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam, that time he was doing Srimad Bhagavatam. He never stopped. He was used to do after getting up at 12 or 1 o'clock in the night, and he used to continuously translate the books. Right? He wasn't seeing this is discomfort to my body. Right? So his schedule, let's go back to his schedule. His schedule was like that. About 34,000 miles he was supposed to travel in that 50 days. One place to other place, not more than 2-3 days in a place. Everywhere, morning, arti, then lecture, then, afternoon meeting somebody. That meeting was not pleasure meeting, right? The people who used to come and meet Prabhupada, most of the time they want to challenge Prabhupada, right? They want to challenge and show that how he is wrong, and how the scriptures are wrong. So it is not like pleasant or calm or cool. So there also he is actively involved. So if you see, is continuous in, if from our perspective we see is a continuously in struggle, right? So much stress in that, but he never stopped his translation. That is amazing thing. Whenever he was going from one place to other place, we usually have this jet lag, right? You go from one region to other region, and we have jet lag. But Shrutakirti Prabhu mentioned, Prabhupada was like, he used to just change his clock, and he used to be set with that particular region. He never had a problem with jet lag or anything. He did everything on his time, right time. He used to do his translation. He used to go for his morning walks. If you heard his morning walks, or if you read about his morning walks. So he never thought that this is unpleasant. This is, 80 years of old he was doing this. And devotees actually was trying to treat him more than a king. But he never thought that, oh, this is a very pleasant to me. He accepted that as a gift. Why he accepted? He wanted to, get it. Why he accepted? Yeah, for pleasure of the devotee. And if he accepts, what will happen? Krishna's mercy will come to devotees. Prabhupada is connecting because Prabhupada is accepting. Why? That devotee will get the benefit of that seva, whether it is a small or big seva. Yeah, recently I saw that when I was serving our Guru Maharaj. So actually he was up there, he was having the breakfast. Then everybody is coming and trying to serve him. And we saw that he had already Hare Krishna. He already have, and then I think that is Aradhana Mataji's daughter. She came, Aparajita, and she got something. I think it was dosa or something. Yeah, Puran Poli. And then we know that Maharaj was done. He was finished. But he asked, "Do you want to serve?" She said, "Yes." Okay, then keep it. He accepted that. Why he accepted is basically she wants to serve. Like that, I think another somebody came. She also gave. That Mataji also gave. Yeah, that Mataji. Guru Maharaj asked the same thing. Do you want to give? She says yes. So he said keep. So he accepted both that. So that action for us may be very small action, but the person who is doing that will definitely get the benefit of that seva. Yeah. Okay, so with this note, I want to end here. Yeah. Any questions, comments? Hour kirtan. 24-hour kirtan. Yeah, there is arrangement. Prabhu. Yeah, there is arrangement, Prabhu. You just have to come. That's it. I didn't knew till yesterday. So yesterday they called me saying I have a room. So I'm going tomorrow. Yeah. The lodge, because we kept our name as waiting list, and I was thinking I will go only if there is accommodation. Sunil Prabhu told me that he has a room, but I said it will be little too much going back and forth from um, temple to especially Prem Brothers condition. So I was little hesitant. We just prayed that if it is possible, then if we get accommodation. And then yesterday evening they called me saying you have one room. Do you want to come? I said yes, I want to come. So Saturday we have a room. Friday I was already having a room. So we are planning to go tomorrow. So join, come if you want to. No, we are driving, bro. Yeah, yeah. 7 hours. It's not that bad actually. It's not that bad. Yeah, yeah. It is. It. It's not that bad. It is little stretch, but it's not that bad. Because bus, actually we did only once. The bus actually you need lot of devotees first. Second thing is the distance is such that we cannot go completely bus also and completely drive also. If it is sure 10 hours, then everybody will take bus and then we can go bus. But here what happens, some devotees go by, and because there is more flexibility. Other thing is bus becomes expensive, very expensive, because it has to stay there with us 2 days. It doesn't go anywhere that 2 days, but they charge about 2000 per day, or 1500 something per day, like that. So it was we did once. It was a little expensive for everybody that time. Don't remember now. That time I think it was about 80 or $100 or more per person, something like that. Yeah. So if you family of four or three, it's like $300 $400 is just traveling. Yeah. Yeah. Prabhuji likes driving. He drives nicely. Yeah, even tent. Yeah, tent is. Yeah, tent is there. Yeah, yeah. Even this also 24 hours kirtan. Even yeah, tents will be there. Yeah, yeah. You don't need tent also for that, right? You can just sleep in the car. Yeah. Okay. So we will end here.